Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 8. Episode 8, Tim.
Yes, sir, Tony.
We say this every episode, like we're so happy to be back.
Well, we are happy to be back, really.
I know that. That's true.
I enjoy it every week, and I look forward to it. And we're almost teenagers, so.
No, it's true, though. I mean, we say the same thing several times, but we do mean it, guys. We're very happy that you're joining us. Very happy for all the positive feedback we get about the show. We do feel like we're doing something right. We are tweaking things here and there to make it better for you. So we are glad to be here, and we're here for episode 8. Episode 8. And we got a good little list going on this week.
Yeah, we sure do, Tony. We had Sly's birthday last week. That was pretty huge. I think everybody on Instagram wished him a happy birthday, so I hope he's probably still going through the mail, right? And all the messages.
Exactly.
But like I said, I thought we'd kick off tonight with some of the relationships with Rocky.
Yeah.
And with Paulie and maybe with Mickey.
Yep. Yeah, well, exactly. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Rambo as well, having his relationships, because we always do touch base on our foundations of our passion for Sly's films, which is Rocky and Rambo. But yeah, Rocky, everybody knows the relationship with Rocky and Adrian. That's a no-brainer. But the Rocky-Paulie relationship is definitely something that's for the discussion, because I do believe that's part brother, part love and hate, part, I don't get this guy. He's, like he says, you're a jealous, lazy bum. It's coming straight from the heart. Yeah. And he meant that. I do believe he meant that in Rocky 3. But we also talked about how he got to know Paulie, which we're hoping to find out in an eventual prequel. But I do believe that the meat worker there is, Rocky loves him. Yeah. Loves him like a brother, and siblings fight. Siblings don't agree with each other, but
crazy brother, wasn't it?
But
you look like a crazy brother.
You know that? You really are.
Yeah.
But he treats him as such, and they're loyal to each other.
Yeah.
I mean, they really are, through thick and thin. They've been there for each other, with each other. And everybody loves the breakdown scene in Rocky 4, and when he tells him he'd like to unzip himself and be you.
Yeah.
Or even, in the scene in Balboa.
Yeah.
Which we talked about last week, on how he, look at him there.
Oh, yeah.
And again, that picture's pretty funny too, because he has the little, promos that he's getting paid for.
Oh, yeah. Paulie cut a deal somewhere, right? With the, goldenpalace.com.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly.
So he probably said, "Hey, Rocco, I can make some name off your money." He did say that. He did.
Remember when he came out of the restaurant before he talked to Robert?
Yeah.
And he goes, "You can just like in the original film,
But I mean, I know we're going to be bouncing around a little bit, but back to Rocky, he's stuck with Rocky all through, right, the franchise and the story. So I tend not to say the franchise, because sometimes I think Rocky is just one big, long, continuous movie to me. You know what I mean?
Kind of is, really.
I don't, I know it's Rocky and Rocky 2 and Rocky 3, but to me, it's just, I almost wish there was one DVD where it just continuously played the whole story. Cause that would be a Sunday afternoon. So
that would be pretty awesome.
You go back.
Yeah, you're right. He did, he definitely has some polishing to come up with when it comes to class and etiquette and, words I'm trying to think of, politically correct or whatever it may be. I mean, he's definitely rough around the edges.
Yeah.
And he has a hard time showing that he cares. I mean, that's the hard part to siphon out of him. He does care, but it's trying to get him to show that he cares, or even understand that he cares.
Yep.
Adrian understood that he cared, but at what cost? Look how she yelled at him in the first film.
Yeah.
I cook for you. I clean for you. So she was frustrated with him too. And Rocky almost took his head off at that point. Right?
Yeah.
Rocky's had a lot of restraint when it comes to Paulie.
But through, like you said, through it thick and thin, I love this picture here. For people listening, we got the picture of Paulie when they get to the training location in Rocky 4, and he's asking Rocky why he rented this dumb location.
What are you going to do?
Right?
Grow reindeer?
But like you said, he stuck with Rocky and Rocky stuck with him, right? So,
Yeah.
it's just a friendship that, it just lasted over the years. So,
And, I think everybody has a friendship like that where, look, not everybody sees eye to eye on everything. Not everybody is going to agree with all the decisions everybody makes. It's just life.
yeah.
But, to be there for them and always be there for them and be there for each other, and the caring throughout that life is what matters. And that's what he did.
That's
and
right.
He wouldn't, I wouldn't say he wouldn't have made it without Paulie. I mean, if you take Paulie out of the picture, it's a very different movie, but it's also not taking Adrian out, taking Mickey out, somebody along those lines. But I do believe it would have been a very, very different film if they took Paulie out.
Yeah, that's right. Or didn't have him, continue his character on in the other movies, right? So,
right.
I mean, you see him in Rocky 2 and he takes over, his job with Gazzo,
yeah.
right? And, breaking bones, that doesn't bother me. You talk to Gazzo, you're just so, he just always wants, right? So,
walking around the dock with a snow cone.
Oh yeah. Yeah. But,
you can't take him out and it won't change it as it did Mickey. I mean, you take Mickey out, it's just a whole different film.
Well,
and obviously just the three of them.
That's right. I mean, but Mickey, you're talking relationships and Rocky, right? So, Mickey was so, influential to Rocky, right? So he trained him. I mean,
well, I think, it's no secret I'm not a big fan of 5. But that scene where he's telling him on how he'll be able to take care of himself, inside the ring as well as outside, as if that's okay.
Yeah.
And I do believe that. The father figure was there. Mickey cared like a father. That's why he protected him in Rocky 3, where he was telling him, my job was to protect you.
Yep.
And Rocky went to him for that protection and went for him for that advice. And just like a father and a son, they butted heads at numerous times, especially in the beginning, before they really developed that relationship.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole, I've been coming here 6 years speech. That was before they really got together. And then, when he comes up to the apartment and asks him to be his manager, Rocky wants nothing to do with him.
No.
But he knows he needs something. He knows he can't, he knew deep down he couldn't do it by himself.
No, I think you're right. And then, the whole scene where Rocky just has to vent, right? He has to get that out. And like you said, if you've known somebody long enough, eventually the relationship, it's going to come out. If you guys aren't seeing eye to eye or a couple or whatever, you get that out and then you just lay all your cards on the table. And then you see Rocky, chase after Mickey, put his arm around him and probably said, look, I had to get that out of me and let's just start over.
That's something we need to know. Sly, if you're listening, that's something we need to know. Let us know what Rocky said to Mickey.
Absolutely. You see him put his arm around Mickey and that's what I want to think, that he just said, look, Mick, I had to get that out of my system. Let's, tomorrow morning we start fresh and you're in charge and then they shake hands, right? And Rocky gives him the, the little wave, and I love the little wave right afterwards that
the handshake I think was, sealing the deal. This is the contract.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Long time ago, men shook hands on contracts and that's what they did.
Well, if you look you talked about 5, right? And when George Washington Duke comes up and says to Tommy Gunn, like, I checked with the boxing commission. There's no formal contract with you and Balboa. And Tommy, what does Tommy say? Yeah, just a handshake. Rocky did it that way. You honor it. And, he wasn't trying to, you can see that he wasn't trying to take money from Tommy. He was trying to protect him, kind of like Mickey did, right?
Kind of like Mickey, yeah, exactly.
And he just saw this kid that was raw and it made him feel like he was winning again. But, unfortunately, the Duke was able to come in and just sort of dangle that carrot and, a fancy car in the apartment. Sure. And that's what Rocky was trying to protect him from.
Yeah. I mean, you could see how Mickey rubbed off on him. I mean, Rocky had a heart anyway, but you could see you saw how many times he mentioned Mickey in that movie.
Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah.
The jab and everything he was talking to him about. This is what he did.
Yeah.
But he, it's funny on how sometimes you don't think about the the deep-seated relationship of what it is
No.
when you're really watching the movie. It was the father figure.
Mhm.
Rocky, obviously, his parents were not involved in Rocky's life. They're not even
No.
around, whether they were dead or took off or whatever happened, but they weren't around. And he was at an age where obviously having a father is long gone, so to speak.
Mhm.
I mean, he was pushing 30, like he said, but he, everybody needs some form of father figure in their life up to a certain point.
Yep.
And he got it, and it definitely helped him become a better man, become a better boxer, obviously. But he took it for what it was worth until 3, unfortunately.
Yeah. And I mean, like I said, I don't want to keep going back to 5, but he, when Tommy Gunn says, I want you to manage me, and Rocky's like, manage? He goes, I ain't no manager. The gentleman that owned this place, that was a manager. That's how important Mickey was to Rocky. And,
sure. Oh, yeah.
And Mickey left the gym to Rocky's son, right? So, like I said before, that was his father figure. And I don't think it was anybody questioned that happened.
No. And other tough guys have those father figures too, like even our own John J. Rambo.
Yeah. Yeah.
He had the father figure in Trautman.
That's right.
Colonel Trautman was definitely his father figure.
Sorry, I'm behind on my pictures there. There we are. But that scene there is from Rambo 3 that people are listening. We've got the scene from Rambo 3 where, he's going on a mission and they talk to Rambo and Rambo basically said, I put in my time and my war's over. And so he goes off, and of course Trautman wants to talk to him, and he says, when are you going to come for full circle? And Rambo says, what are you talking about? He goes, you can hide from the world and you can hide from what you really are, but you're just a full-blooded combat machine, right? So, and what I liked was how he told him a story about this sculptor. He found this special stone and he brought it home and worked on it for months. And when he was done, he showed it to his friends, and his friends said, he created this amazing sculpture. And the sculptor says, I didn't create anything. I just chipped away the rough edges. Yep. Trautman says, that's what we did with you. We didn't make you this great soldier. We just chipped away the rough edges, and we just fine tuned you. You were always this full-blooded combat soldier, like you have it in your blood. But I think looking back at First Blood, when we first see Trautman, and he's the one that's trying to talk Rambo off the ledge, if you will, like before he gets pushed over the edge.
He was. Yeah.
It's already escalated to the point where the military's come in. So he's come in to see if he can not only, 1, talk Rambo down, but 2, save what possibly could go wrong. And we all know that he was capable of doing whatever he wanted.
Right.
But, Trautman is definitely, a figure that, is important to Rambo. That's for sure.
Absolutely. I mean, because you got to assume that Rambo went into the military after high school, 18 years old, if he even finished high school. And Trautman was probably his first father figure that he had. Mm-hmm. Again, we don't know his backstory. We don't know he never mentions it. So, especially with it being, at the time of First Blood, he was out of the military for 7 years.
Right.
So Trautman's still there for him after 7 years removed from the military.
Yeah. So
he's obviously been there a large part of John's life. That's right. He's definitely the father figure. You're absolutely correct about that. And he had other, he wasn't just a, monster out there. He had the other relationships with the young lady, Co, which is, I don't really want to use the term. It was his Adrian to Rocky, because obviously it wasn't as long term and, but it showed that he had a heart and he cared.
Yeah.
And he did care for her.
That's right. Well, you know what? And it wasn't planned. That was his contact. And, she helped him. I don't want to say she helped him totally escape, but she was a big part of it. Right. So
sure. Oh yeah.
But then they got, they had the night together and she was asking him, I want to go stateside, make a normal life. And maybe I go with you, Rambo. And he's like, yeah. And then, unfortunately we know what happens to her. And, but I think just that scene or that time for Rambo, he probably never, had that kind of relationship before, right? He wasn't old enough.
No.
He was thrown into the military,
No, there was all just the camaraderie of the other soldiers
Mhm.
or a Trautman or a commanding officer. He
Yeah.
didn't have the relationship or affection of a young lady or any woman for that matter.
Yeah.
I mean, of any sincere
Mhm.
emotion anyway.
Yep.
He didn't have that in his life. He did. And again, as Rambo, everything's taken away from him. All
Yeah.
his army buddies are taken away, and obviously she was taken away.
Mhm.
So it's, you almost wonder, you almost don't wonder why he is the way he is. Everything.
Well, and that's right.
And cares for us is taken away from him.
At the end of First Blood, he talks about his buddy getting blown up with the kid comes up to just shine the shoes and he blows him up and he comes back and he says to Trautman, I can't get that out of my head. I don't talk to people for days or weeks. And, and then you find Rambo in jail and it's Trautman again, who comes out and it's not really the ideal situation to get him out of jail, to put him back in Vietnam. But I mean, it's, Trautman's capable, thinking this guy's capable of it. And at least won't be in prison.
Right.
But like you said, when Cole gets killed, he's just pushed over the edge again. Right. And you see that, he just barely starts to build something with a relationship with, Trautman and then with a female and then, she's killed and, offside, he's just gone again. So it's the psyche of Rambo is pretty delicate, right? Like, I mean, it never had a chance to be normal.
No, I don't think so either. I mean, cause he was so young when he went in the military and he was programmed at that point that you're right. He didn't have the chance to be normal. Right. So to speak anyway, but it's funny because I mean, they're such good franchises. They're just both of them for 40 plus years,
Yeah. Well, the huge franchises, right? And I mean, it's funny.
And they apply to today. It's not like it's not like you watch them and you're going, oh, wow, that did not age well.
Yeah, no, I mean, I just watched, Rocky 3 the other night and, right in the middle of the franchise, but I mean, you're right. Rocky franchise, Rambo franchises.
Great.
On the topic of franchises though, we thought we would, take a look at some other franchises that are big.
And that are in the same boat too. I mean, you play these franchises and the cars are going to be dated or maybe some of the humor might be dated. Yeah. Or maybe some of the oversensitive, politically correct stuff will be dated. Chill out, people. We had skin back then. It's okay. But overall, the storyline, the acting, the action, or whatever it may be that's involved in a franchise still holds up today.
No, and that's right. And you know what? And some of these franchises, like, I don't want to be biased, but we all are. But if you get in Rocky and Rambo, and I don't look at the cars. I don't know what if I just get caught up in the series, like, we'll start with this one. We'll start with Lethal Weapon, right?
Lethal Weapon. There it is.
Nobody's
doing the old, long-haired mullet thing anymore, but but he pulled it off.
Yeah, no, there was just such a great franchise, and the chemistry between, Martin Riggs and Murtaugh, right? So
the buddy cop movie.
Yeah, they just,
that's what it is.
Murtaugh was going to retire, and he has to get this, is he a suicidal psycho? On the loose, cop. And,
remember when he's issued Riggs as a partner, he reads about him, I heard about you and this and that. And he takes the gun. He's got the eyes going. He's, you think he's crazy. He's like, this guy's going to kill himself.
Yeah. And well, that's one of the lines that I remember. And he says, you get through tomorrow without killing anybody, including yourself, and we'll go from there,
Exactly.
And he has him, he even invites him over to his house, right? Meet his family. And I mean, obviously there's a lot of action in the Lethal Weapon movies and a lot of comedy too, right? And Joe Pesci adds to that. There's another fantastic actor who can do the comedy role, but he plays them, obviously we've seen him in the mobster movies and,
he did a fantastic job though with Lethal Weapon. Okay.
Yeah.
He's all fidgety.
Whatever you need, Leo gets. You get it? Right? Because, when they first meet him in Lethal Weapon 2, right? And he's like,
I think it was either that or 3. I thought it was 3.
It was Lethal Weapon 2 because they're actually assigned, because these guys cause so much trouble. They assign them to watch Leo to get him to the court, right? Because he's got information on the mob boss, right? So when they walk in, they knock on the door. So they knock on the door, and he says, "Who is it?" And Riggs says, "Police, open up." He goes, "How do I know?" He goes, "I'll shoot you through the door. You can examine the bullet." So he opens the door, right? He opens the door, and he goes, "What are you doing? Don't you ask for ID?" "Well, let me see some ID." "Shut up." It's just too late now. But
Riggs played. I love the role he played. I really do.
Yeah.
It's such a great role.
That's what Leo gets is like, "Oh, I get it. Good cop, bad cop." And then Murtaugh turns him and, "Shut up." And he's like, "Oh, bad cop, bad cop." Like,
Exactly.
They just, the three of them. And then from there on out, they're all together, for most of the films, right? And they added Chris Rock in there.
Yep.
But, just a great franchise.
Very good franchise. And again, holds true to today. Stands up today.
Yeah, you can put on any Lethal Weapon, and it's great. Like, so the next franchise I want to talk about, this one here, Jurassic Park. They just had another movie come out recently.
Yep.
Right?
Dominion was just released about 2 weeks ago, I think, give or take. Yeah. Have not seen it. I'm not going to lie. Haven't seen it yet.
No, we've been, we got to broaden our horizons, Tony. We got to start checking out some of the newer films. I love talking Rocky and Rambo, and I'll do it all day long. But,
well, I did see some others. I mean, I saw Maverick, and I did see the new Elvis movie. I saw the new Elvis movie.
What'd you think of the Elvis movie?
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And I've been a really big Elvis fan for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
It was a very, very well done job.
No,
but yeah, Jurassic Park I did not catch yet, but I will. Yeah. But back when, what was that, 93? First one came out?
1993. Yeah.
93. That was about as, on the horizon of CGI you could possibly get. I mean, it was about, it was first done, pretty much.
Right.
And they also had the animatronics of the dinosaurs, but they also had the CGI dinosaurs. And it was like nothing you've ever seen. It wasn't like a stop action movie or anything. Nope. Between that and the surround sound, and then when you first see the T-Rex for the first time, like, holy crap.
Well, that's it, right? And I think we touched on this in another episode, and I apologize that I can't remember that. But on the set, when Spielberg had George Lucas, because those guys were buddies, they were going around showing him some of the stuff, and he was watching some of the stuff that they were filming. And George says, "Steven, this is unbelievable what you're doing. This is phenomenal what you're doing." And he says, "George, we're doing this because of you. We're doing this because of what you did with Star Wars." And he goes, "What do you mean?" He goes, "None of this would be possible if you didn't bring a Star Wars and what you did in the 70s, right?" Yeah. So you're thinking almost 20 years later.
Yeah. I mean, right? Star Wars came out in 77. So
77, right?
15 years later, still long enough.
Nobody had even thought that was possible, right? So when he looked at that, that's when he went back and he says, "Okay, I'm gonna clean up the Star Wars movies. I'm gonna do them a little bit, add a few things that I couldn't do in the 70s now that I know is possible." But Jurassic Park. Tell you right here, see this glass of water right here?
Yeah, the water scene. Remember we talked about that.
I'll never forget that scene.
Remember what I told you about the bass string?
Yeah,
that's how we got. That's how we got.
You know what? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he got that perfect little movement every time when T-Rex came out for the first time in the original movie, it blew my mind. When you saw his foot just come down by that Jeep, I was like, holy crap. Yeah. And it, and it got better as it went on. Then it went into Jurassic World, which I did like. I mean, I did like Chris Pratt does a good job.
Yeah.
I do like his character. And I love the fact that the last one, which I haven't seen, like I said, brought back the original crew. They brought back, Sam Neill and Jeff Goldblum and Laura Dern. So it's going to be really cool to see that come kind of full circle. That'd be neat.
That's right. Well, speaking of characters, one of my all-time favorite characters is Dr. Indiana Jones.
Indeed.
Okay. Right. So again, a franchise that, is unbelievable. Even the fourth one didn't get, maybe not the best reviews.
Yeah.
But
well, there's always
I still love it, right?
Yeah. There's always going to be that one.
Yeah.
In a franchise, excuse me.
Mm-hmm. But Raiders of the Lost Ark, everybody remembers the scene with the boulder, right? When he's in there and he turns around and some of the scenes with Harrison Ford and the looks on his face, like Harrison Ford, first of all, he's a legend, right? He's in a Hall of Fame. If I guess his Hall of Famer, is that a correct term for a legendary actor?
Well, he's he's a legend. He's a legend.
And some of the scenes that he did in those movies, the Temple of Doom. I actually like Last Crusade. That's my favorite of the franchise.
Well, the funny part about the John Connery is that they were obviously copied, or I shouldn't say copied, but based on and of the old style of films. The old fedora wearing, swashbuckler in the deserts. You get the gold, you get the jewelry, with the hidden tomb and stuff. And it wasn't an original story. That's been going on since the 30s,
right?
And they brought it to life with obviously a lot more stunts, and a lot more color, but as it goes to show you have the story and you have the acting and the good enough director, it'll hold the test of time.
Oh yeah. Then I saw Last Crusade in the theater, and my friend and I were watching it, and when it starts out, you get the young Indiana Jones, right? So, and he's getting chased by the guys that are trying to steal the artifact, and he falls in with the lion, right? And that's where Indy finds his whip, right? And he picks the whip up and he at the lion, and what does he do? He cuts his chin, right? Well, my friend turns to me all excited, screaming his head off, going, "That's how he got the scar on his chin." I'm like, I know. Like, we were like 14 years old, right? 15 years old, 1989 when that came out. And I just remember, like, what a great thing to go back and show how, he was always like this, right? And then it flashed forward and he's fighting the same guy, and he says, "Dr. Jones, is the second time I've had to retrieve my artifacts." But,
and that's the fun part about the franchises of any franchise, is that they can touch base on previous franchises of why a scar happened, or why he does this or does that, or why they have this in their house, whatever it may be. Any type of little details of things, like, oh wow, that's where he got that from. Yeah. And that's the fun, cool part about it.
Because when he comes back, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but when he comes back and he has the artifact, and, Marcus says to him, Indy says to Marcus, "How long have you been chasing that?" He says, "All your life, all my life." You know what I mean? So they go back and forth. But again, this is a franchise that is going to hold up to the test of time, right? It's never going to, because it goes back to the 30s and the 40s and the 50s, and right. I mean, that's the way the vehicles were. So, it's at time. They're not trying to pass us off as a 2020, right?
And guys like Spielberg know that, they know what worked. They know what it will work. Look, think about it. We just saw Jurassic Park. Now we're talking Raiders. I mean, the guy, since we're on the Spielberg train, I was talking about another franchise of his that pretty much put him on the map.
Right.
Which is our good old little buddy. Oh,
sorry. Wrong one.
No. You're good. Good old buddy. Well, he produced that one. He didn't direct that one, but he did produce it. And that's again, a timeless, movie.
Yep.
Timeless movie, a timeless story. And again, you're going to see the 50s cars. So when it's 2022, they look a lot older than they did for us in the 80s.
Yeah.
But you could still relate to the storyline. You could still relate to the fun, the comedic value of it, the action value of it. And granted, there was only 3. There wasn't a ton.
No.
But there was enough to keep it around. And, they lost its charm, I guess, after 3. I never heard about a 4 being talked about.
I did. I mean, well, maybe it was fan base only. Maybe it was the fans that just kept wanting it. I know you're right. I never heard Spielberg or Michael J. Fox talk about it.
That might have been a time Michael J. Fox got diagnosed with his Parkinson's too. So it might be why he pulled out. I don't know.
Yeah. But, you get Huey Lewis in the news and soundtrack, and I hear that song and I immediately think of Back to the Future, right? And the DeLorean and
the DeLorean. Again, you're not going to, the DeLorean doesn't really hold suit later on, it looks more like a spaceship. Or when they watch part 2, they see the years that they're talking about, thinking, well, that's not the future. That's behind us.
That's
but
right.
Again, the story and the fun part of the film holds true and holds on. And it was so well done, especially the first one. First one was so well done when he falls out of the tree and they look at his underwear and they keep calling him Calvin.
Yeah.
It's like, why do you call me Calvin?
I love, one of my favorite scenes is when he's in the coffee shop and before he meets his dad, and he didn't realize it, but he's at the counter and the guy says, what do you got? What do you want? And he goes, give me a tab. Because I can't give you a tab unless you order something. He goes, just give me a Pepsi free. And he's like, hey, pal, you want a Pepsi? You got to pay for it. Like he doesn't understand, like he's in 1985, right? And he doesn't understand, like, there's no tabs in 1955. And there's
no Pepsi free.
There's no Pepsi free. And he goes, he's thinking, you want a Pepsi, you got to pay for it. And then,
that was like the same scene too when Biff came in. He said, "Hey, we fly," and they both turn around.
They both turn around, and then his goons with Biff, they look at him. Look at this guy. What, did you fall off a ship? What, do you got a life jacket on? And he's like, "What are you talking about?" It's like
he had that ski vest on. It did look like a life preserver,
right? So
that's hysterical. But Spielberg produced that one. Zemeckis directed it.
So
great film.
Where we were going before I put up the wrong picture, and don't get me wrong, Back to the Future is great. But where I was going was this.
That's what put him on the map. Jaws.
Right.
That's what made me not go in a body of water since 1975.
Well, I tell you what, my wife Tina would agree with you, Tony. We, our first house, we bought it and fixed it up. The house we have now, we bought it, had a pool, and that's where she does her swimming. She says there's too many creepy things in the water. I
live right on the Gulf of Mexico pretty much. I'm about, 3 miles away, and I barely go in. I go in between my ankles and my knees. I don't ever go deeper than that, but that man is the reason why. And that was one of the all time greatest movies I've ever seen. It follows the filmmaking 101 by the letter. Yeah. From foreshadowing to Daniel Mon, everything that they do in that film is just phenomenal the way it was done. And it really throws back to a Hitchcock type of horror movie. And oddly enough, it wasn't intended, but you didn't see the shark for 3/4 of the movie.
That's right.
Because it wasn't working for 3/4 of the movie. They couldn't get it to work properly. But Spielberg said he liked the way it was because it was almost like Hitchcock. Hitchcock gave an interview one time and it said, shock value is one thing, but suspense is another. So I show Tim sitting here right now, and I show you next scene that I put a bomb under his chair, and I show you Tim and I talking, and the bomb's under his chair, and you're like, come on, man, go, get out of there. Oh my God, it's going to blow up, and you're freaking out. But if you and I are just talking and all of a sudden you just blow up, that gives you a shock factor for 2 seconds, and that's it. Yeah. So that's kind of what it was with Jaws, where the shark wasn't working for so long. You were anticipating seeing him. You didn't see him. You saw people getting pulled under the water. So it definitely added to that shock value towards the end of the film. But probably one of my top 3 favorite films. I just love it. Love it. Yeah. Now the sequels, it's a franchise. We'll put it that way.
Yeah. Well, Jaws, is it safe to say Jaws 2 was okay?
Jaws 2 wasn't bad. It was never going to have for very few sequels are as good or better than the first, but it was watchable. It was decent. But once you got to the 3 and 4, that was just horrible. Yeah. But again, it's a franchise. They kept going. They just kept trying to ride that money shark. Yeah, that's keep it going the whole way, which you can't always do. It's just that simple. Can't always do it. But it did work for a time.
Yeah. Another franchise, and the first one was phenomenal. The second one was, I thought, I don't say as good, but pretty close.
Oh, agreed.
Beverly Hills Cop. Right?
Agreed.
So Beverly Hills Cop came out in 1984. Yep. We rented it, and I don't really think my dad knew what we had here. I was 11 years old when I watched Beverly Hills Cop. I don't think I should have been watching Beverly Hills Cop because anybody that's seen this, it's pretty colorful language.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
You got Eddie Murphy, and that was at Eddie Murphy at his heyday.
Right.
You know, Beverly Hills Cop 2, he was at mega stardom.
Right.
So yeah, his language is not the cleanest, but yeah, I have to agree with you. 2 was as good, if not a notch better than the first one.
Yeah.
You know, the soundtrack.
It's like the Lethal Weapon, right? Like it's the buddy cop, the comedy, action. Now this is a little more comedy than the Lethal Weapon, but you know, I will never ever forget, you know, them carrying him out and throwing him through the window, and then he gets arrested, and he was thinking, you know, what the I can't use the language on here, but we all remember the movie, right? And they arrest him, the banana on the tailpipe, right?
Yep.
So
he's so funny. Now I know you know this, being a Sly fan. Mm-hmm. You know he was offered that role of Axel Foley, before Eddie Murphy, and it was supposed to be a serious cop film. It wasn't supposed to be a comedy,
right?
And it was changed obviously when they gave it to Eddie Murphy,
right?
Which everything worked out for the better for Eddie Murphy and for the Beverly Hills Cop franchise.
Yeah.
But I could see Sly doing it though. I could see him getting in there and making the smart aleck comments.
Yeah. Well, maybe later on, you know, that he passed it, and maybe that's why he did Tango and Cash.
Maybe.
It was
a good film.
His buddy cop movie. But Beverly Hills Cop, my goodness, just such a great movie, right? The great franchise. So
it was a great franchise. I mean, 3 was definitely starting to slip. You know, it definitely went downhill a little bit. But 2, like you said, was at least as good, if not better, than the first. And that, of course, their soundtrack went mega stardom.
Oh yeah,
the soundtrack went huge with the Neutron Dance and Shakedown and all those songs in there. It was good. It was a good film. I like that series.
Yeah.
The next one we got coming up is Mr. Bruce Willis with Die Hard.
My God. Okay, first of all, let's get this out of the way.
Yeah.
Everybody, the debate is still on. Die Hard.
We did this one time. We know what Tim and I think.
Christmas movie, yes or no, Tony?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Yes, I think because, listen, guys, he's going to LA to a Christmas party, right? It's Christmas time.
Yep.
I put it in as a Christmas movie. So, boom, there we are. Anybody that feels otherwise, message us and let us know why. We're going to tell you don't think it's a Christmas movie. Why you don't think it's a Christmas movie, but a lot of action.
And it's a fun movie. You know, he's got that great little quirky sarcasm to his role, and you know, he's come out to the coast, have a good time.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, a ton of action in this one, right?
Oh, so goodness, and you know, and the more they made, the more action you got. I mean,
that's right.
Die Hard 2 was more, 3 was. I liked all of them. I mean, we were just saying how some of them don't live up to the first one or worse. I think all of them are. I mean, Die Hard, of course, is always going to hold a special part, but the others are just right. They're not. They didn't decline like some of the other franchises.
Yeah, and they added great actors to support Bruce Willis, right?
Yeah.
And these were huge movies, right? The Die Hard franchise. So another one you can just throw on Sunday afternoon, right? And just put on.
And again, has no time period. Nope. It doesn't look 80s. It doesn't look 2000s. It doesn't, it's just, you know, a cop blow 'em up action film. So it's always a good one there. I mean, I always enjoy it. I always enjoy it. Like you said, whatever's on, I'll watch it.
Yeah. Well, speaking of blowing things up, I thought we would talk about this franchise.
Yep, Mr. Arnold.
Right. Another massive franchise, right?
And again, the second one being as good, if not better, than the first.
Right.
You know, in a lot of people's opinions, and mostly the box office.
Right.
I mean, that was the biggest one of the group.
Yeah, that's right.
It was huge, and it was just a good film. And in the last film, I'm assuming everybody saw already, so it's not like we're giving away hints here. Great to see him come back.
Yeah,
and great to see Sarah Connor come back.
Yeah, that's right. Now I loved how they, you know, he was older, and I thought to myself, we watched the trailer, and a friend of mine says, "I'm not going to go see that. Look at him, he's old." But if you watch it, he explains that his skin aged, right?
Right.
And it makes him look like an older Terminator, right? So that's how they played that in. And I love the fact that, you know, you find him in the woods, he's chopping wood, and she says, "This is Carl." And Sarah Connor's like, "I am not calling you Carl. And, he's just trying to pretend he's got this little normal life, right?
Yeah.
And just a great, great franchise. But Terminator, Terminator and Terminator 2 were huge, right? So you get the motorcycle and you get the leather jacket and the glasses, right? So I watched an article.
Tell me, like you just said with Rocky, who doesn't know Rocky? Who doesn't? You put that scene, that picture up of Arnold with the glasses and the leather jacket. Who doesn't know that that's the Terminator?
Yeah, that's right.
Now you could have just seen the first one. Maybe you didn't even see any of them, but you can't tell me that you don't know that's Terminator.
No. And there was a interview one time when they were filming, I believe it was the Terminator 4. So, Arnold was on set and he come out of his trailer full of like leather jacket, glasses on. And there was somebody that was, you have all kinds of people working on set and somebody screams, "Now we're effing filming Terminator." Right? Like as soon as they saw him walk by.
Yeah.
And it was just, they just loved it. People just cheered on set and, they knew it was go time. Right. So
that's awesome.
Another great franchise. So, okay. Where are we going here? Mission Impossible?
Tom Cruise, who's just hit the $1 billion mark with Maverick, making a boatload of money from that movie, did it again with Mission Impossible here. And I know there's another one coming out. There's another one coming out, which is a 2-part film, part 1 and 2. But these movies, again, they're timeless. They're espionage, they're action, they're taking place in Prague and Russia and Paris and wherever they are, and they just high-end cars and, pretty ladies and diamonds and blowing things up. And it doesn't matter what year it is. It's just an action-packed, good story. Tom Cruise is always running or jumping off of something. So it's, that's a plus.
And how many times you watch Mission Impossible and you get lost in the story and you can't remember who's on what side, and it's, you really have to pay attention. It's one of those movies, you're in the theater, you're not going out to get more popcorn, or you don't want to go to the washroom if you want to stay in your seat. It's just full of action. If you miss something, it's like, wait a minute, who, that guy was with who? And it's almost like, that's typical spy movie, right?
Exactly. That's a typical spy movie. You got the double spy, you got the,
triple spies,
triple spies. And a lot of the younger people don't know, but that was based off of a TV show.
Yeah.
That's right. Which was in the 60s, early 70s. And the show was the same concept, a different episode every week, and obviously not as art filled and blow them up as the films you see, but it was taken off of that, and obviously holds up still today. Yeah. Great films.
What did they say? This message will self-destruct in 5 seconds.
Yep. And you just see it's just blow up.
Yeah.
And then that music,
Yeah, and then he always, like, it depends on what he had. Like, he would throw it out a window because it was gonna explode. There's no evidence of the message because they were gonna deny everything, right?
No evidence of the mission.
No, that's right. But we started out with Rocky and Rambo, the franchises, and we've gone through some of them. Like I said, this wasn't a top 10. This was just great franchises that hold up.
Right. And there's a lot of franchises we didn't talk about. I mean, we didn't talk about Star Wars, which is probably one of the bigger ones of the bunch. We didn't talk about a lot of Star Trek. There's a lot of franchises we did not touch base on.
And there's a reason for that. There's a reason for that, like Star Wars and Batman, because later on, a few episodes in, we are going to, we just didn't feel we wanted to brush by Star Wars and brush by the Batman.
They're too big.
We're going to break down those on a show, and we might just go all Star Wars for a show or all Batman just because they're so big, right? But the last franchise I want to talk about kind of wraps it up nicely and brings us back with Sly, is one of my favorites, Expendables, right?
Yeah,
absolutely love not only the posters, but I love the movies and I love the whole concept.
Yep.
This was when he announced this, Tony, I was like, I got treated going back to the 80s with everybody. Like
Right.
he brought everybody from the 80s, and he says,
did, like we said that last
Hop
episode.
in.
Like, they're probably sitting around the bar at Sly's house or something, or wherever. Hey, why don't we do a film together? All of us have done action films, and why haven't we done a film together? And there's still so many people that he could have asked, and there was scheduling conflicts with people. There were people that the studio didn't want to pay this much. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that have not been in these roles, but overall, he's touched base on almost all of them.
Right. And you've got old action stars. You've got new action stars, right? You've got a great storyline too. Aging action stars, even the team at Expendables 2, he tries to replace them, right? And, you get Chuck Norris in there. You got Arnold Schwarzenegger in there, Bruce Willis, Dolph Lundgren, Randy Couture, Ronda Rousey, Jean-Claude Van Damme,
Harrison Ford, Mickey Rourke, Antonio Banderas.
Mel Gibson.
You can just keep going.
Unbelievable. Sly put this on his Instagram, a picture, and I think it was from Expendables 3. They were doing the premiere, and just a shot of all of them together, and you're thinking, holy, that's my childhood right there, right?
Yep.
So it's unbelievable, the action. There's a little bit of comedy in it, but mostly
you got the one-liners and a little, guy camaraderie ribbon here and there, challenging each other and stuff. And the storyline is what it is. But guys, take these movies for what they are.
Oh,
they're not suspense films that, they're action-packed movies.
No, they're not, you know what? They're not. I think that he knows, these aren't going to win Academy Awards. I know that, and you know that, but it's a hell of a good time, right? So just 2
hours of fun.
Quick note on the Expendables. When the Expendables 2 was coming out, they had a contest. I don't have the Facebook. I didn't have Facebook. My wife had it. So there was a contest that you could win tickets to the premiere, but you had to like and share this, the post. So I went on her Facebook. I logged in. I submitted the entry, and she thought she had got hacked because it just kept coming up, strap on your artillery, get ready for one more ride. And she's like, what the hell is all this guns and ammo and blowing stuff up on my internet? And she goes, I don't remember clicking on this. So I had to come clean and tell her that I entered her into a Expendables contest. So maybe if she would have won, she probably would have punished me by not taking me to the premiere. But that would have been funny. I had to, like I said, I came clean pretty quick and told her, I said, that was me. She goes, get your own Facebook then. So I'm working on Facebook. I don't understand it. I know it's been longer
at a time. I'm good.
Yeah. So,
but definitely check them out. And obviously everybody knows Expendable 4 is coming out.
Yeah.
Relatively soon. We've heard different dates. We've heard, fall. We've heard spring.
Yeah.
We've heard November. We've heard Christmas time, and we've heard spring. So,
you know what? I know he's got Samaritan coming out this year, and supposedly he's got Expendables, and it keeps getting pushed, but for good reason. We know he's been very busy, and for good reason. I think you know why, because you went and got Paramount Plus, because right here, I got my copy here. I've never bought a TV guide in my life. I felt that I had to buy this one just because of who's on it. So Tulsa King, I think we're all looking forward to
very much
to this show.
Yeah,
right?
very much so. But yeah, again, guys, this is not a list of 1 to 10.
No,
I know we Tim and I both know we've left out a variety of franchises that were not snubbed by any reason.
No,
when we talked about it, these were the 10 we came up with.
Yeah.
We'll do another episode on another franchise, topic again, and we'll talk about the ones we haven't.
Yep.
But other than that, that's the ones we got there. And I believe we have some trivia. We have trivia this week.
Yeah, but before we get into the trivia, I would just like to say that, I am man enough to say that Tony kicked my ass last week on the trivia.
Kind of doesn't count, though. You had the same questions I did.
No, so. I know, but you got the win. I'm going to get us a little scoreboard or a trophy or something.
Yeah, we'll have to get something up there.
Definitely, if we started with Sly's birthday and we did Sly trivia, Tony, the Stallion is 1-0. So, But
this
here we
week
go.
we can't have the same questions because
we won't have the same questions. But here, I get my little trivia here.
Trivia night. There it is. Right, straight from Blockbuster.
I love it. Yep. Oh God, I miss Blockbuster. Anyways, all right, you're up. Go ahead.
Right. I'll go first.
I thought maybe we'll just go bounce back and forth, question for question this time.
Sure, why not?
Okay. All right, instead of making me look bad all at once.
So I have a Raiders of the Lost Ark one, which is, I believe, kind of easy.
Okay.
Maybe it's not. We'll find out.
Yep.
Who was famously offered the role of Indiana Jones before Harrison Ford?
Tom Selleck.
That is correct. Correct.
I'm a pretty big Tom Selleck fan, and
I was so Magnum PI back in the day. It wasn't even funny.
Well, and not only that, Blue Bloods is one of my favorite TV shows.
See, I haven't. I got to start watching.
Tony. My God, they're 9 seasons in, man.
Is it? You know what? Gina had mentioned to me about watching it,
and because the fact that he's older, so he plays a commissioner of New York. His daughter is assistant district attorney. His son is a detective. His other son is a cop. His dad is the former police commissioner. Anybody that hasn't seen Blue Bloods.
Yeah, but back in the day, I'll be brave enough one day where I'll give you a picture to post and show you my Magnum years.
Oh,
but it's pretty interesting. But yeah, Tom Selleck was offered that.
Gina, if you're watching, send me that picture. That's a must. I gotta see that. So
I might have to talk to Mr.
Anyways, that's a great movie. Franchise. And but anyways, the long answer is Tom Selleck.
Tom Selleck. So you got that one. So 1-0.
Okay. Jurassic Park. How about we do a Jurassic Park question for you? Okay. So in Jurassic Park, I'm going to be easy on you. I'm going to go with the first one.
Okay.
How did they say they cloned the dinosaurs on the island?
Them?
How they cloned them?
The DNA from the mosquito.
No. They use frog DNA.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Yeah, that's gonna go back to 1993 to watch that. But, they use frog DNA to clone the dinosaurs. So,
you're gonna win this week then, because the rest of these are not that hard.
I'm just telling you right now, I'm gonna pick C on Mission Impossible because I have seen the Mission Impossible movies, but it's been a bit, and
I went kind of easy on a lot of these. It was hard to find some questions, but anyway.
No, go ahead.
Okay, so Beverly Hills Cop.
Oh yeah.
Okay, Beverly Hills Cop. This one is teetering. Easy, hard. It could go either way for you. What is the name of Axel Foley's boss?
Axel Foley's boss.
And I don't need his first name.
Okay, just one sec. Oh my goodness. I can see him screaming at him.
Yeah, that's how come I knew it too.
Oh, I could just see him screaming at him. I can see people in the chat right now just throwing the answer up now. Oh my God, I can see
a Jeopardy timer or something.
Yeah, really, eh? Do we have a time limit on this? God, I can't remember if it's lieutenant or captain. I know I could see him. Oh my God, I'm drawing a blank. It's so easy. I can see him screaming at him too.
There might be a chance then if you don't get this. I didn't get one. So we're good.
Oh, I'm not going to come up with something.
Okay.
Just a minute. One sec. No, I could just see him swearing so much and Axel just says, "Hey boss, hey boss."
Yeah.
Because, I'm drawing a blank.
Inspector Todd.
I'm so mad at myself.
Remember Paul Reiser?
Yeah. This is not my locker.
Todd. This is Inspector Todd.
Yeah. Remember when he comes in and he goes, because he stole the truckload of cigarettes and he just freaks on him and Paul Reiser's behind him and he goes, "I told you." Because this is none of your business. Because this is not my locker.
He's yelling at him.
Inspector Todd, right?
But Inspector Todd. Okay, so
that's a good question.
We're at let's see. You got Indy. Okay, so Mom, go ahead. Your question.
All right. So Back to the Future. Okay. What I got 2 questions for you. So this is okay. So first one, what does Marty always say when things get difficult?
What does he always say?
What does he always say? What do you always say to Doc Brown when things are getting difficult?
Oh man, you got good ones this week.
Mhm.
I know Doc Brown always says "Great Scott."
Yeah.
What does Marty say?
And so when Doc Brown would say, you know, we have to get, you know, 1.25 gigawatts, and what's Marty's kind of quote through the whole franchise?
I can't think of it. I know as soon as you say it, I'm going to know it.
Yeah.
I can't think of it though. What's his? Give me a couple more seconds.
Yeah, he'll tell him that, like, you know, you can't meet anybody because it's going to alter the future, or you can't interfere with anything. I can see him
saying it because I know he says it at the end too.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to. Oh, I'm 0 for 2 now.
No, really. So Marty, Marty will say, "That's heavy." And Doc will say, why is this heavy reference? Is it some kind of problem with gravitational pull? Yeah. So that's what Marty will always say. Oh, that's heavy.
This is not good. This is not good.
So go ahead.
You're one.
Okay, wait. I got one more question. So
that's right. Yourself right here. I get a half a point.
Yeah. We find when Marty goes back to 1955, the first place he goes into is the malt shop or the hangout, I guess, the coffee shop, I guess. So he bumps into Biff. He bumps into his dad.
Mm-hmm.
What is the name of the janitor that will be mayor one day?
Oh, Gordy. Oh, Gordy. Thompson?
Gordy Wilson.
Wilson. Okay.
Yeah. So I'll give you half a point for that.
I got a quarter of a point.
Yeah, a quarter of a point. So you're 0.25.
There you go. 0.25 to 1.
All right.
So I have Mission Impossible.
Tough questions this week. They
are. You got good ones this week.
Yeah.
All right. Mission Impossible. Here we go. Mm-hmm. This one's fairly easy because I know Mission Impossible is almost impossible.
Oh my God.
After all their trivia.
I could probably be watching Mission Impossible and get this wrong.
It's just between all their places they film and all that. Yeah. But anyway, so what does IMF stand for?
IMF.
That was their department, I guess you could say, or division.
I'm going to say it's international. Jesus. International. Something International Federation, but I can't remember them. I think I'm going to get that wrong too, but it's IMF, right?
IMF.
Yeah. International. I don't know.
Give up?
Yeah, I give up.
The Impossible Mission Force.
And see, I was way off. That's a hard question. Did anybody in the chat get that?
How bad we are.
Wow. This is
it's
either
1 to a quarter.
Well, it's wow. Anyway,
all right. So number 3. What do I got? Hopefully, I got something I can answer.
All right, Terminator.
Okay. Well,
Terminator. And I'm not going to ask you who played the Terminator. That would be too easy. So,
all right.
When we first see the Terminator, what day? What's the date that he arrives in LA?
Oh, jeez. I have no clue. December 8th, 1984. I have no idea.
May 12th, 1984. 1:52 a.m.
I would have never known that. I knew it was 1984.
Yeah.
Do I get another quarter?
I'll give you a quarter for the year, but that's really pushing it. So
yeah, that's
the only reason I'm doing that is because I'm still up by a half a point.
So. You're up by half right now.
That's why I'm giving you the quarter.
There's 2 questions left for you. Okay.
All
right. So Lethal Weapon.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Lethal Weapon.
Yeah, I love them. Bring it.
Remember Lethal Weapon 3 where they're running on the ice and the NHL teams are playing?
Yep.
What teams are playing?
Obviously LA Kings. Okay. And the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yep, you got it.
The funny thing is they didn't actually use the Toronto Maple Leafs logo. I believe they used the Toronto Marbles. Because it must have been a licensing. I don't know why. Issue. You would think that the NHL would be all over it.
Well, especially by then, because that was Lethal Weapon 3.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like it was in the beginning.
No. And you know what? I would have thought because they were at the Staples Center and they're at a Kings game that they would be definitely like, yeah, absolutely. But
yeah,
I never found out why, but it really bugged me that they, as a hockey fan, that they didn't use the sweaters. Let's get that out of the way first.
Yep,
They're not
sweaters.
jerseys.
I know you call them sweaters. See, that was
Joanne,
the one I knew
Joanne will agree with me, my friend from BC.
That was the one I knew you were going to get. I knew there was no doubt in my mind you were getting that one. So
yeah.
All right. So it's 2 to a half.
2 to a half. No. Oh yeah. I'm killing you this week. So what?
Generous
do I have any left here? Okay. Jaws.
Okay. This one. Okay. Lock.
If you don't get this one, let me see my notes.
This one's a lock. This is one of my favorite movies. I'll be very surprised if I don't get this.
Okay. So I've got 2 questions for Jaws. So you can redeem yourself right here. You can take the lead, Tony. You can take the lead. Yep. I'm gonna.
All right. I'm ready.
That's the Canadian in me, right? So, what is the name of the boat that they go out on to find the shark?
That would be the Orca.
Yeah. Boom. See, just like that, you're back. Okay. That was the easy one. All right. The second Jaws question I have. So after seems like everybody and their dog is out catching sharks and out on the water because they, the reward money.
Yeah.
So these fishermen get the shark and the reporters are there and the mayor's all doing the press and, they're going to open it up. And, I'm sorry. So the Jaws movie, what's, not the scientist that they bring in. What's his name?
Hooper.
Yeah. So what he said, look this is not the shark. And he goes, yeah, this is the shark. What kind of shark does he say they caught?
Well, he says it's a tigerfish.
Oh, Tony, boom. You're right back in there.
Wait, this is a tigerfish. And and the other guy says, oh, what is that? But yeah, tiger.
Yeah. Boom. Look at that. Good one, Stallion. Okay. You're right back in it. I think you took the lead there. There you go.
We'll give away a quarter. We'll give away a quarter. Okay, so Expendables, which I'm going to get.
Okay.
But that's okay. I'm good with that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we know Dolph Lundgren and Sly Stallone were in Rocky IV.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There's 2 other group actors. There may be more. These are the 2 I found first that also have been in other films besides Expendables together.
Mm-hmm.
What 2 actors were in another film together? What were the 2 actors? What were the film? Now there's 2 sets that I came up with.
2 sets. Okay.
Yeah. So these 2 actors were in this film. Okay. The 2 actors were in that film.
Okay. So is it Sly you mean, or just anybody?
No, just anybody in the Expendables world.
Okay. So, one was, Sylvester Stallone and Antonio Banderas were in Assassins.
Yep.
Okay. Sylvester Stallone and Eric Roberts were in The Specialist together.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And let me think here. What's the other one? There's another one.
I had 2 particularly written down, but those are correct answers.
Yeah. Okay.
They're correct answers. But I had 2 that I wrote down because I knew about those as well.
Yeah. They were the easy ones, I guess. I guess I went to the easy ones.
The two more difficult ones were Mickey Rourke and Eric Roberts were in a movie called The Pope of Greenwich Village.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very little known film. And then Terry Crews and Steve Austin.
Yeah.
Were in The Longest Yard.
Oh, you're right. You're right. That you know what? And the funny thing is, I keep bugging you about the Longest Yard sequel, so should have known that, right? So
I know. I just saw that too. So
yeah.
But other than that, that was it. So yeah, you redeemed yourself. You kicked my butt this week.
No, I wouldn't say kick. I just sneaked her in there. We'll go with that. So no,
they were tough this week.
Yeah, they were really fun. Just because we opened it up and we weren't just talking Sly, but like I said, as a good Canadian boy here, I'm going to give you one more shot because I ordered my copy of the Rocky trivia book. Right,
there it is.
Rocco, great book in here, great questions. So I thought just for fun,
from you, Rocco, I will.
I thought I'd just throw one more in. I know we weren't going to do
Why not?
Total curveball, right? So I'm gonna look through the book here real quick and pick out a good one. I think we'll go all the way back to Rocky. All right.
Okay.
So this is for the Stallion. This is for all the marbles.
It's for all the marbles. Double or nothing.
Yeah. what is Rocky's record going into the fight with Apollo?
Oh, that's a good question. Going into the fight with Apollo.
Going into the fight with Apollo, they're looking in the book, and I think they mention it. I think it's Juergens that mentions it.
I don't know it going into the fight with Apollo, because I knew his record overall come Balboa.
Yeah.
But I don't know it going into the fight with Apollo.
Okay.
50, no, it would be 50. It would be 43 and 26.
Oh,
I don't know.
You know what? You're actually pretty close. I like that dramatic. You thought you nailed it. You know what? You were very close. His record going into Apollo was 44 and 20. He had lost 20 fights. Because they mentioned it when he walks up into the ring. They said he's lost 20 fights, but I thought I'd just throw a curveball in there, and
you did.
That's a great book.
His overall record come Balboa.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Sorry. 57, 23, and one draw.
And one draw. Yeah. And who was the draw?
Who was the draw? Mr. Hulk Hogan. Well, Thunderlips.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Mr. Draw.
I don't know if that counts, but
anyways, you know what? Another fun evening, wrapped up with some trivia. So,
good time as always.
The franchise
trivia. We don't, we don't care if we get the answers right or not.
And then, you know what? For fun. Like I said, this whole show is based on, you hanging out with your buddies. You go and see a movie, and you challenge, what line was this, and what would he say? And
do you know how many times I played around in golf with my buddies? We don't go 3 holes without quoting a movie of some kind, whether it be Caddyshack or A Few Good Men or
That's whatever. Right. I can't believe I couldn't get Inspector Todd. It's just because I can see him scream at him so much, right? So, but
next week I'll get harder ones, because you got me good this week.
Yeah, that was fun.
Speaking of in the next couple of weeks, we're going to be on a show in the next couple of weeks.
Yep.
Episode 12 of the podcast, aren't we?
Yeah, episode 12 of It's a Long Road podcast. So like I said before, the Round 14 podcast is now available on the Last of the Action Heroes podcast network. I got through it. I didn't even look at the notes that time. But no, we're on the network, so you can listen to our audio on iTunes and Apple Music, wherever you guys get your downloads from. Ryan had us on the Long Road podcast, so Tony and I got to break down. Actually, it was quite an honor. We got to finish out First Blood, right?
It was cool. We got to finish out First Blood, and we also got to finish out the first season of his podcast, and it was fun. Yep. We dissected the ending of First Blood, talked about the scene, talked about the emotions, talked about the directing. It was a good time. I enjoyed it. He has a good podcast. Yeah,
and like Tony said, we got to come in right where Rambo blew up the gas station.
Yep.
And then, he's got Tizo pinned down on top of the police station, and then the whole,
goes from there.
It was a dramatic scene at the end with him and Trautman, but it kind of ties in nicely to this episode that, the relationship with Trautman, right? So,
there you go. Exactly.
It just ties in nicely. So again, check us out on that, network, and check us out on, YouTube. All our episodes are up. If you haven't watched, if you need to catch up, and follow us on Instagram, you can find Tony,
please,
at
Stallion22 Tony.
Right, 22. Why 22? Because
I started wearing 22 because of Mr. Stallone and also Mr. Burt Reynolds.
Yeah, so two amazing people that wore that number, and that's a great
in school sports and high school sports, and college sports.
Yeah,
it's fun. I like my favorite number.
Yeah, so check him out. He's got some awesome posts. I usually take some of his and put them on the Round 14 just because they're so good.
You have to, of course.
You find me at Tim Wistard. Not as exciting, but that's where I am. And you know what, Tony?
The Wild Canuck.
Wild Canuck. So. I got my Jays cap on here, so it's an up and down season as Jays fans goes, but that's the way it. We're not the Yankees.
It's only halfway there.
We haven't got the payroll of the Yankees, but as long as you make the playoffs, it's a whole new season. But Tony, this was awesome. I had a great time.
Good time as always, my friend.
All right,
Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope to see you all next week.
Yeah.
Good night.
We'll see you.